Can you take a minute today and find Marijuana Today daily in whatever podcast app you use to tune in and leave a rating and review? It helps us reach new listeners and is a valuable source of feedback. So let us know how we're doing. Just search for the term marijuana wherever you get your podcasts and leave a rating and review. Thanks so much. This episode of Marijuana Today Daily is brought to you by our friends over at Curaleaf, one of the nation's top multi-state cannabis operators with 49 local dispensaries, 14 cultivation sites, and 13 processing facilities, serving up more than 165,000 registered medical marijuana patients. Check them out over at curaleaf.com, spelled Curaleaf. Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Tuesday, October 29th, 2019, and you're tuned in to episode 828 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. We have some rather large financial results from national marijuana brand MedMen, with Deb Borchardt over at Green Market Report reporting on the company's just announced fourth quarter numbers, showing $42 million in revenue on top of net losses of just under $83 million. MedMen's full year revenue was $130 million on top of a net loss of $277 million, the size of which drove this one to the top of our headlines today. You can swing over to Deb's story for more on this, including a further breakdown on where MedMen has spent and made its money. The $130 million mark was up 227% over the previous year. One interesting note here is the focus that MedMen has seemingly shifted from pushing its brand out widely on a national scale to honing it more on the California market. Kyle Yeager over at Marijuana Moment has a good update out of Mexico, which is in the process of legalizing marijuana following a Supreme Court ruling earlier this year calling for the end of prohibition. There's been a lot of work in Mexico's Senate to develop legislation lifting adult use prohibition, and as Kyle has it, a number of Mexican Senate committees have signed off on a proposed bill released on Friday, which would set up a taxed and regulated sales system open to adults 18 years of age and up. Yesterday, news broke that the bill will first be routed through a special Senate board, a process which is expected to push back a vote on the legislation by some number of days. This is a good story to jump into fully yourself, as Kyle has a detailed breakdown on what the new proposed bill will do. As always, we have all the news we cover linked to on our website at mjtodaydaily.com. With a top story twofer, Kyle's back, scooping up news that the White House Office of Management and Budget, or OMB, has signed off on proposed interim rules pitched by the U.S. Department of Agriculture governing how industrial hemp can be cultivated, processed, and sold. Industrial hemp was first legalized late last year in the 2018 Farm Bill, but all of the middle ground of rules and regulations for how it can be grown and used have not yet been developed. That process is still very much ongoing and is where this story lands today. There are no details yet as to what the actual USDA plan contains, but you can and should open up Kyle's piece for all the information that he has there, which is helpful. This storyline is a biggie. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz out in headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, Curaleaf, one of the nation's top multi-state cannabis operators with 49 local dispensaries, 14 cultivation sites, and 13 processing facilities, serving up more than 165,000 registered medical marijuana patients. On top of running one of the largest multi-state cannabis operations, Curaleaf is also proud of its 3 retail brands, with Curaleaf Medical Marijuana, Curaleaf Hemp, and Yuku Craft Cannabis nicely covering the full spectrum of legal marijuana options. So you're covered wherever your legal cannabis needs lie. Pop over to curaleaf.com today with Curaleaf spelled Curaleaf to learn more about those popular brands and to dive into all the other cool things Curaleaf is up to, including Curaleaf the stock, now traded up on the Canadian Securities Exchange under the symbol CURA. Big thanks to everyone over at Curaleaf for the support that makes today's show possible. All right, time for the Blitz. Marijuana entrepreneur and investor Siki Ballard is offering up $250,000 in all to be loaned out at zero to little interest to 1,000 social equity applicants to Illinois' legal cannabis program. Mr. Ballard is founder of Good Tree Capital, a venture firm specializing in the legal cannabis industry. Illinois is in the process of rolling out a legal cannabis system and has a fairly developed social equity program. If you'd like to learn more about applying for the social equity loan from Good Tree Capital, you can find links over at Marijuana Business Daily. The deadline for applying for that loan is November 15th, with the social equity program application window itself running from December 10th to January 2nd, with 75 social equity licenses to be awarded by May. California-based marijuana company Harborside just announced that its CEO, Andrew Berman, was stepping down from his position, effective immediately. Mr. Berman has been head of the vertically integrated company since January of 2018 and will be replaced on an interim level by Peter Bilodeau, chair of Harborside's board of directors. Harborside went public up in the Canadian markets this summer and has experienced, like much of the cannabis industry as of late, a bit of a slide in price, which I'm sure played some role in this story. Utah is another state that is transitioning to a more progressive cannabis policy, as state officials expect a healthy number of applicants for the 14 medical marijuana dispensary licenses to be handed out. Utah is accepting applications through December 1st with an eye on a March 1st opening. Hillary Bricken over at the excellent Canna Law blog pulled together a good collection of recently passed cannabis-related bills in California, including legislation on state tax deductions, the donation of marijuana to charities that pass it on to low-income patients, testing, and social equity programs. If your business gets better when you understand California more, this is a good one to read. New numbers from Headset via Marijuana Business Daily shows that the sale of marijuana edibles is up in legal states in the days and weeks since the ongoing vape health scare has been running. Margaret Jackson sets the first reported vape-related death as occurring back on August 23rd in Illinois, and ever since, edible sales in Colorado, Nevada, Washington, and California have all climbed up a statistically significant amount, with Washington state in particular rising from 8.5% to 11.2%. We have a story in need of a quick bit of 7 degrees of separation disclosure, as we have a headline about Field Trip Ventures, a research and development company focused on the nascent world of contemporary therapeutic psychedelics. Field Trip Ventures is a client of KCSA Strategic Communications, who we produce the Green Rush podcast with. With all that said, Field Trip Ventures founder Ronan Levy was just on CNBC's Power Lunch to talk about his company's work and the potential for the medicinal use of psychedelics. An interesting watch for sure. Taking us home today is, you guessed it, Mr. Marijuana News himself, Kyle Yeager, who noticed a great set of tweets made by Colorado Governor Jared Polis, a noted supporter of legal cannabis, who shared some tips on how to grow marijuana as small bonsai plants. Polis noted pictures of the practice and tweeted about it on Friday, writing, quote, "Yes, it's possible to cultivate a cannabis bonsai. Coloradans have the constitutional right to grow up to 6 marijuana plants per adult in your home. So does a marijuana bonsai plant count as half a plant or a full plant? Don't test your luck. And keeping 6 bonsai of any kind alive and well is a lot of work anyway. Cannabis bonsai tips posted below. Anyone actually tried this?" Unquote. Definitely could be a trend. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again tomorrow morning with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. Thanks to our sponsor, Cureleaf, and to our awesome patron listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the illustrious ranks of the patron listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in and starting your day with marijuana today. Today.
One take, Shay. One take.